Hey Meadow, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good to have you back. How was your break? Okay.
It was okay.
That
Working.
that is good. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to have you back here nonetheless.
I think I submitted some work.
Okay. I think you did too. I will check that out for sure.
Okay, thank you. I've just been busy working so much and like a lot of stuff been going on with my grandma and stuff, so it's kind of hard like to do that and focus on school too. But I can't make it to Zoom classes, but I can come and do the work.
That's fine. That's why we record them and put them up on YouTube. All right. Hey Relisha, hey Jair, welcome. Jair, glad we got you in the right spot this time. Relisha, there you are. All right. Yeah, Med, I know attendance might be tough because you got work and stuff going on, but if you can keep up with the work, then you should still be okay. All right. And I'm going to be, and this is not just for Meta, this is for everybody. I'm going to be updating the announcement page on Summit later today or by the end of this week with everything that is due, so that everybody can start getting caught up. Because as we know, we only have a few weeks left in term two. Okay. All right, but thank you for logging on. It is 10:31 right now, so let's give it maybe another 5 minutes or so and see if we get some more people logged on here, and then we will jump in and get started. And Alicia and Jair, glad to see you guys. And again, if I didn't already, I hope you guys had a good break and are relaxed and refreshed and ready to roll. But I think I saw you guys on Monday anyway, so welcome either way. Hey Deja, good morning. Welcome back. Sorry I had to kick you out of first period before, but good job for being bright and early. All right. We're just giving it a few more minutes here, see who else we get logged on. Let me send one last quick reminder out here. Oh, excuse me. All right, I'll give it about maybe 2 more minutes. And we'll jump in. Let me make sure my attendance is good here. Cool. Hey, welcome. Oh, Miss Cat has joined us, celebrity guest. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
All right, y'all. Let's give it about maybe one more minute, and then we will jump in. Here's our agenda for today. All right, so kind of review continuation of what we did on Monday. If you were here, all right, y'all. Let's jump in. Welcome again. Glad we have a good bit of people with us here today. I think I saw most of you guys on Monday. If I didn't, then welcome back. I hope everybody had a good break. Hey, Denim, welcome to you. All right. Glad to see a lot of people who I actually do think we have a lot of people who I didn't see on Monday. So welcome back. And again, hope everybody had a safe and relaxing break and is ready to go. So let's jump into it for today. Okay. If you were with us Monday, which I think Deja was, maybe one or two other people, I think Jair was, then you should know that we talked about songs and song lyrics that are, poetic because the next kind of phase of our project here, which again is revolves around the literary canon and deciding what goes in the canon and what doesn't go in the canon, and then eventually you guys are going to make a pitch for me as your final product with some piece of popular culture, whether it is a song, a movie, a story, a TV scene, whatever it is that should be included in that canon. You're going to tell me why. So part of that is exploring lyrics, and do lyrics count as poetry, because there's a lot of poetry in the canon like Shakespeare and all that stuff. And so everybody shared kind of their um just make sure that we are recording here. Yeah, everybody shared their songs that they thought were were the most poetic, which was super interesting, and I enjoyed listening to all of those. So today we're going to kind of continue there and dive into the actual activity on Summit that explores this as well. So to start, to get our brains in gear for that, I have a do not question right here. So you can respond in the chat, true or false. At least one musical artist has won the Nobel Prize for Literature. What do you think? Think about this. Take a 30 seconds or so and tell me your answer in the chat. You can just write true or false in the chat. All right. If you believe it is true and you want to take a guess as to which musical artist it is, if you guess correctly, there may be a $5 Amazon gift card involved. All right. So feel free to take a shot. All right. If you think it's false, then write false and you don't have to guess. All right. But let's take the next 2 minutes or so and see what we can come up with. So again, respond in the chat, true or false. At least one musical artist has won the Nobel Prize for Literature. So tell me true or false. If you think it's true and you want to take a guess as to which artist it is, if you guess correctly, then you shall be the victor of an Amazon gift card. All right, let's check out the chat and see if we got anything coming in. Looks like we do. Excellent. All right. So we got 3 responses in here. Deja, Jair, Alicia, who all said true. And you are correct. And Relisha took a guess for the artist, and she guessed Bob Dylan. And she is correct. So congratulations, Relisha. You will be the recipient of a $5 Amazon gift card. Good job. All right. But yes, that is definitely true. Bob Dylan won the Nobel Prize for Literature. I am unsure of the exact date off the top of my head. But
it was in 2016.
Was it in 2016? Awesome, Relisha. Thank you. So yeah, very, very important moment in not only in Nobel Prize history, but also in music and literature history as well, because that's kind of validation that yes, even though these are songs, they're still considered literature, and important literature. So that's what we're going to kind of explore today is, do we think that song lyrics are poetry and should be considered poetry and maybe even win a Nobel Prize? Okay. And the way we're going to do that is through this activity on Summit. So that's where I'd like you all to go right now. Let me share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. So I will put it in the chat as well, but it is called Our Song Lyrics Poetry, like you can see right here. Right. And you can find that under checkpoint 2, which you should have all just been assigned. Okay, so if you go to your summit for our class, Pop Culture Poetry, English 4, you should see checkpoints 1 and 2 right here, and then you should see checkpoint 2 mini pitch. If you click on that, right, and it looks like this. If you scroll down, the first link you see here is our song lyrics poetry. So you can click on that, then it should bring you to this page right here. So go ahead, take a minute or two, pull that up. When you have it pulled up, you can let me know in the chat by giving me a thumbs up or tell me that you got it. And while you guys are pulling this up, I will kind of go over what we're going to do here. All right, so in 2016, like Relisha said, thank you again, musician Bob Dylan won the Nobel Prize for Literature. The Nobel Prize is a prize given each year to people around the world who have done important work in various types of activity. There are prizes for special achievements in physics, chemistry, economics, literature, and peace. In this activity, read and learn about the debate surrounding Bob Dylan's Nobel Prize. Then use the information you learn to form an opinion about whether Dylan's work is poetry and whether songs can be poetry in general. Okay, so two kind of different missions here with this. The first one, read about it, right? So we're going to read this article that details and the kind of debate that went along with it, right? Hey, morning, Eli. All right, let me mark you on my attendance here real quick. And Eli, if you're just joining us, we are looking at our song lyrics poetry activity that should be on Summit under checkpoint 2, which is mini pitch. So if you click checkpoint 2 and you scroll down, you should see it's the first one right here. Okay, so that's where we are right now. Right. If you are not at your computer right now, that is okay. You can try to get it on your phone, and if not, you can just take a couple screenshots as reminders. And we are recording, so this will be up on YouTube later today. If you want to go back there and check it out, or you could also come to the Summit Lab. All right. So again, our first step here with this is to read the article, right, about the award response, or about the award and the response from authors. So this is the article right here. So you're reading through this. They kind of have some word banks here as you go, in case you are stumped on what some of these words might mean, because they're specific to kind of the Nobel Prize, like laureates and pictorial, right? So you read through this, and as we read, we're going to highlight for two different things. In green, we're going to highlight statements that express Bob Dylan should have won the prize. And in purple, we're going to express statements that express Bob Dylan should not have won the prize. Okay. And then there is a space where we can answer some questions. All right. Which would be these questions down here. Okay. So for right now, we're only going to focus on the first parts 1 and 2. This third part we will kind of do together next class. All right. So our first part is, again, reading through this article, highlighting for these two things: statements that express Bob Dylan should have won, statements that express Bob Dylan should not have won. Okay. And then after that, we are going to evaluate the actual, song itself. Okay, Shelter from the Storm. So you can read through this, and then based on the knowledge you gained about canonical poetry in checkpoint 1, highlight the following. So we're going to highlight words and phrases that demonstrate poetry, that we think demonstrate poetry, words or phrases that are at the quality of the canon, words or phrases that we think do not demonstrate poetry, and words or phrases that we think are not at the quality of the canon. So as examples for these two things, for our first part, as we read through this article, we're looking for, again, statements that express both that Bob Dylan should have won and that he should not have won. So as we read this article here, it begins: the Nobel Committee for Literature touched off a furious debate Thursday by awarding its prize to Bob Dylan, the first time in its 115-year history that the prestigious award has gone to a songwriter. Mr. Dylan, 75, known for 1960s era folk anthems such as Blowin' in the Wind, like Rolling Stone and the Times They Were Changing, received the Nobel Prize in Literature for having... Hey, Naima, welcome.
Probably she getting sick.
If you're just joining us, we are on Summit under checkpoint 2, mini pitch, and we're looking at our song lyrics poetry activity right here. Okay. So continuing to read through this first article, Mr. Dylan, 75, known for 1960s era folk anthems such as Blowin' in the Wind, like Rolling Stone and the Times They Are Changing, received the Nobel Prize in Literature, quote, for having created new poetic expressions within the great American song tradition, the committee said in Stockholm. So just taking that first paragraph, do we think there's any part of that paragraph that we can highlight as a statement that expresses Bob Dylan should have won the Nobel Prize? So if we look at just this first paragraph right here, is there any part of this that tells us why he should have won the prize that we can highlight in green? Does any part of that jump out to anybody? I'll zoom in here a little bit so it's a little bit easier to see. Right? But any part of this first paragraph that we think we might be able to highlight as expressing why Bob Dylan should have won the Nobel Prize. Any part of this jump out to anybody? You can tell us in the chat or come off mute, whichever is easier. If we look at this first paragraph right here, what part of this might we be able to highlight in green because it expresses that Bob Dylan should have won the Nobel Prize? Does any part of this jump out to anyone?
For having I created a new poetry expression within a great American song tradition.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Who was that? Eli?
Jair.
Oh, Jair. Thank you. I didn't have my list in front of me at the moment. Yes, you are 100% correct, Eli. This is the piece right here that we can highlight. So I'm going to do that right now. So if you're following along on your own link, we can highlight this here for having created new poetic expressions within the great American tradition. So I would highlight that just like I did if I was going to copy and paste it, and then I would come up here and I would make that green. Since again, our key tells us that we're highlighting in green statements that express Bob Dylan should have won the prize, right? Because that's the reasoning that the Nobel Prize Committee gave when they selected him, for having created new poetic expressions within the great American song tradition, all right? And then if we continue, it says if you want to start listening or reading, you may start with Blonde on Blonde, the album from 1966. You've got many classics, all right, blah, blah, blah. So we can continue looking for other examples that show he should have won. All right. But now we look here and we can start to see some of the opposite. All right. The decision to honor a pop singer instead of a novelist was cheered by Mr. Dylan's legion of fans, but criticized by others who said the committee had cheapened its brand by equating pop music lyrics with serious literature. So that's a piece where we could probably highlight in purple that express Bob Dylan should not have won the prize. All right, so I would go back up to that. All right. And I can highlight that piece right there. I want to make that purple. All right. Kind of looks blue. That's Summit's version of purple, but we get the gist. And then we can see this quote down here from UK Telegraph historian Tim Stanley accused the committee of attempting to, quote unquote, please the crowd in a column headlined, "A world that gives Bob Dylan a Nobel Prize is a world that nominates Trump for president." All right. And so then maybe I could highlight this piece as well. All right, and so I'm going to highlight this in purple also. All right, and so that's what you guys are going to do. Go through the whole article, highlight in green, like Jair was able to do for us, statements that express he should have won, and then highlight in purple, like these two statements that express he should not have won. Okay, and then we continue that through the whole article. Okay, and then once you finish that, you can move on to evaluating the actual poetry. Okay, so let's just focus on the first piece for now. Okay, so let's just focus on annotating the article. Right, so that's what I'm going to turn the time over for you guys to do. I'll give you guys about 25-30 minutes to work through that. And then we will jump back in. If you finish and you want to move on to evaluating the poem, you can, but know that we're going to come back together, go over this, and then look at the poem together as well, or at least the first couple lines to kind of show you guys how to do this piece too. All right, and then don't worry about the chart for now. All right. So what you should be doing right now is pulling this activity up on Summit. Again, you can find it under checkpoint 2, mini pitch. And then if you scroll down, it's right here, our song lyrics poetry. And then you want to start with reading through the article and highlighting for these two specific things like we have started to do. Okay. And I will leave this up on mine for a few minutes in case you want to get it highlighted on yours to get yourself started. Okay. So let's start there. We'll check back in at, let's say 10:15, 10:20, and kind of see where everybody is at. All right. Questions on what you're doing, questions on where to find this. All right. Anything that anybody's having trouble with or not understanding? Okay. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to assume we're good. So go ahead and get started on this and we'll check back in a few. Right. If anybody still needs my two highlights up here as they're working, give me a shout and I'll throw it back up. And I'm going to take this down for now. All right. But again, working through the first part of that, our song lyrics poetry activity on Summit under checkpoint 2, reading through that article, highlighting for both pieces that what's the word I'm looking for? Express that he should have won, and also parts that expressed he should not have won, and highlighting them accordingly. All right. Check back in here in about 15-20. All right. If you have questions as you're going through, please don't be afraid to give me a shout. And I am going to look for this to be done by next class on Monday. So the more you get done now, the less you'll have to do over the weekend. Okay.